one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. Smash the like button because we got a huge show for you today. We got to talk about what is going on with JPMorgan. Are they going to allow their clients to start trading Bitcoin and crypto? Also, we're seeing a lot of news and chatter around the precious metals market. And I'm going to enter in a trade and talk about my trade, trading some options. And we might look at Circle as well, the backer of the USDC stablecoin. And I'm here with TJ. And he's just out there ready for the holidays. He's ready to wreck a sleigh and just have a lot of Christmas cheer. How are you doing today, TJ?
I am doing great. Happy to be here. Happy fresh coming off the interview with Charles Hoskinson. I don't know if everybody saw it over the weekend, but obviously huge shout out to Charles. Thanks for coming on. We always love having him on. It was a really wonderful conversation. Talked a lot, obviously, about Midnight and Cardano. Midnight been absolutely ripping over the weekend. If you guys haven't had a chance to check that one out yet, please make sure to do so. A lot of positive comments, so we appreciate that. And thanks again to Charles for the time. He's always fun. And a fun fact: one of the first people I listened to talk about crypto at a high level early on in my, early in 2017. Obviously, he was out there doing interviews about Cardano. And that's when I really started to get excited about decentralization and decentralized governance and, and the academic approach. And he's definitely, I guess you could say, a polarizing figure. A lot of people have strong opinions about his opinions. But I would say he's one of the most experienced, obviously co-founder of Ethereum, co-founder of Cardano, now launching Midnight, all very relevant projects. And he's probably forgotten more about crypto than most of us watching this here today. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good talk, great time. And I'm having a great time watching what happens with the crypto market at 10 a.m. Today's just no exception, everybody. That's the 10 a.m. candle. This is the 10 a.m. one right there. You can see a nice little, I guess, a doji reversal candle. But yeah, this is strong wicks, a lot of volatility. Let's go to the 5-minute, maybe zoom in. And you can see, 10 a.m. Things just start going a little bit crazy. Ooh. It's going to be right here is the 10 a.m. candles on the 5-minute. So trying to wash out a lot of the traders, washing out a lot of the leverage, but did not spike to where we were before around 7:30 a.m. So I would expect a sharp reversal and clear this liquidity zone. And if we zoom out, when is the last time we were around this area? So about a week ago. And this is just something that we've been seeing. 10 a.m., a lot of volatility. I mean, you just see it in the charts, folks. I'm not making this up. It just happens every single day. And today is no exception.
It's like scam season. I think we're going to continue to see that until that market structure bill passes. I don't see any stop to this in sight. I think maybe we covered it last week. Maybe we were just talking about it, but there was definitely some pretty good write-ups about what is most likely a market maker going under on October 10th, that major liquidation event.
Yeah, I read pretty deep into it on Friday, so I'm not going to cover too much today. But yeah, go check out that show on Friday. We definitely cover why is this happening? What is going on? What's the financial incentive behind it? Now, Bitcoin is up 1.7. ETH is up 2.3. A lot of coins are decently up. Look at Cardano. Cardano's up 5% here. Look for the big gainers. It might be midnight. No, it is no longer night. It is now Hash, Sky, Near, then Night, then Stellar, then Cardano, all leading the way here. Night now up 64% for the week. We're going to talk about its volume. Is it crushing XRP? Now, we look for the big losers, Canton and Aave. Community is very, very upset at Aave after the governance. We've been talking about, this might be something you want to shave your position on because they are not given good communication with why should I hold Aave? If you're not passing all of the profit to the token holders via buybacks, via token burns, why am I holding this? I'm not holding it for governance personally.
Yeah, I mean, the number one reason right now, obviously, is they do still have rights to the protocol revenue, but it's like you said, the communication has been poor to say the least. And there's still a lot of questions around what the future looks like for new revenue streams. So basically what started is Aave Labs basically redirected their co-swap fees, which was around $10 million a year that were going to the DAO, and then they just redirected it to themselves and basically said, yeah, we were giving it to the DAO, but that was basically just to be charitable. So now we're not. And then it just raised all sorts of other questions of like, well, what else could be like this? So I'm still holding my Aave. I have talked to a couple different team members now from Aave Labs, and one thing I would say that helps is Aave Labs team members are also large, some of the largest Aave token holders. So they're not that incentivized to crash their own asset. So there's at least some alignment there, but it's definitely questions to be seen for sure. So yeah,
I don't know, just a developing story and some I would keep on top of, folks. If you are holding some Aave there, Canton is down, Rain down, Monero down. So it does look like the market's trying to choose a favorite privacy coin, but this one's only down 1.9%. But let's talk about alt season 2026. I have alt season. This is what 2026 is going to look like, or maybe it was 2025. Let's see here. What is alt season going to look like?
Oh, psych. I just lost your audio for some reason. It sounds like you're underwater with the alligator there. Talk to me again.
Say what?
Oh, there you go. For some reason, your audio sounded funny at first.
Oh, okay. It was coming in a little bit loud there, so I didn't pass the audio. It's just a lot of splashing noises there. But maybe if I hit mute, what we're wanting to see there.
Yeah, no, never. I was meant your mic audio. I couldn't hear you, but we're good now.
All right. I was aware. All right, JPMorgan, though, let's talk about the main story here. JPMorgan exploring crypto trading for its institutional clients. This is breaking from Bloomberg this morning. We're going to talk about what exactly specifically are they talking about. So JPM is considering offering crypto trading to its institutional clients. They're assessing currently what products and services its markets division could offer to expand its footprint in cryptocurrencies. And this is according to a person familiar with the plans. This could be spot and derivatives trading. But this person is anonymous. They've asked to not be identified because these plans are not public. These are secret plans. Jamie Dimon is, let's just say, hurriedly developing in the back rooms as he goes on TV, FUDs Bitcoin, FUDs crypto. Internally, they're advising and strategizing on how they could sell you crypto, make money off of crypto. The efforts are still in the early stages, but it's in response to the rising interest from their clients following changes in the U.S. regulatory environment around digital assets. Concrete plans will depend on whether there's sufficient demand for any product, as well as an assessment of the risks and opportunities, aka profit margins, and what is feasible from a regulatory standpoint. JPMorgan has declined to comment. I will say this kind of makes me think this is a real thing. If it was not real, there's no current plans. This is what they say when there are current plans and they want to hide those current plans from you. Now, JPMorgan, their Jamie Dimon, had earlier dismissed Bitcoin as a pet rock, but it shows how Wall Street is starting to consider it less as a fringe investment. Its latest stance, more pragmatic. I don't think you should smoke, but I defend your right to smoke, and I defend your right to get Bitcoin. Go at it, folks. Now, they recently arranged the creation, distribution, and settlement for Galaxy Digital Holdings on the Solana blockchain. So they're enabling other people, but they're selling Galaxy products. They want to sell their own products, TJ, and they're tired of not making money while these other companies are. And I think they see BlackRock's profit margins, and they're like, we got to get a piece of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what banks do is they participate in transactions. They may not necessarily hold or invest it themselves, but this is an interesting point from DCA and Prey. They want to allow all their clients the ability to short crypto. That could be potentially true. And I think we're going to continue to see this. Obviously, the largest banks in the world getting involved with crypto. This is why these laws have been starting to be changed. That happened just, I think earlier this month is when they really announced like banks can custody this stuff. They can offer these things to their clients. They're going to be offering them to their investment clients and their high net worth clients first before it trickles down to retail. Allow kind of the high net worth people to get their positions built. And, we're just kind of continuing through this process. So this is not new. This is not a surprise. Bitcoin is here to stay, and all of these other major banks are going to be participating. It is a new industry, and it is kind of the cutting edge of finance. And yeah, I'm not shocked one bit. We did have, I don't know if we mentioned this. I wanted to call this out real quick. We have this was posted last night. So he's saying tomorrow at 9 a.m. So today at 9 a.m., the Fed is set to inject $6.8 billion into the market. So they are these new money is starting to come into the system. That is what we anticipate for next year to be a catalyst, is the Fed and stimulus. We got Trump and Bassett all the way are already talking about stimulus happening early in 2026 next year. So lot of positive momentum when it comes to the markets, but it is still, I think, full of manipulation until we get that market structure bill passed. So,
all right, well, there you go, folks. All right, let's get into a first little breaking news with JPMorgan. This is new. JPMorgan just migrated JPMorgan Coin from their private blockchain to Base.
Yep.
So this is just another major bank choosing public Ethereum infrastructure. So the narrative that enterprises need private chains officially dead. Jamie bending the knee is what they're saying here.
Yeah, I mean, our community was pretty loud when they first launched this, that private blockchains are much like private intranets that came out back in the day. And when it's in a completely closed system, eventually you start to fade against the open system. So not surprising to see them come to Ethereum. It's just, this is another big win for Ethereum, in my opinion. They just keep stacking and stacking wins because most of the settlement seems to be happening on Base and other Ethereum layer 2s like Arbitrum, Optimism, that sort of stuff. So I'm seeing insane momentum for Ethereum compared to any other smart contract EVM L1, like Avalanche, like Solana, like many of the others.
Yeah. And speaking of many others, well, there's many Bitcoin in MicroStrategy's portfolio, and they added many to the others there. They've increased almost $1 billion, 748 million. This is breaking from this morning. Now holds 2 billion and 671,000 Bitcoin.
That's their dollar reserves. So now their dollar reserves are up even more. So this is quieting a lot of the people's like, oh, they're not going to have the money. They're going to have to sell their Bitcoin to pay back stuff in the future. Now they've got a huge dollar reserve to be able to make any of those payments.
Yeah, I want to say it was 950 million, and that was like 19 months worth of dividend payments, or maybe 21. It was like real close to 2 years. And so now add into that. So I haven't seen the latest number, but what are we talking about? 3-4 years of dividend payments. So if you're wondering, all right, they have to sell Bitcoin to cover their dividend payments. Now they have multiple years. It's no longer just, less than 20 months.
Yeah. And a lot of that is, I believe, isn't even set to start till 2027. So it's a year before they even have to start making them. And now they've got multiple years in cash sitting on the sidelines to make those payments. So it's an interesting strategy. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think deep down, if you ask Michael Saylor, he may not say this, but deep down, he'd probably rather yeet that all into Bitcoin. But having some cash on the sidelines, never a bad idea. Being ready for a rainy day. I think it will quiet a lot of the dissension around, oh, if Bitcoin price goes here, what are you going to do? And, if you've got over $1 billion in cash, he might accumulate a whole lot more Bitcoin if the price drops. I doubt it's going to go too much lower, but we'll see.
All right, we got a challenge. Talk about the capture of Ethereum by JPMorgan. You won't. I don't know if they have the ability to capture Ethereum.
Well, yeah, I would ask him to talk about history. There's a lot of different ones. I know when people were talking about censorship blocks and all that sort of stuff early on, having to follow regulation, that was a little bit of a talking point. I think Ethereum solved for that very quickly and very elegantly. I don't think they have consensus control, or they have influence, obviously, over MetaMask and consensus and things that have influence over Ethereum, but I do not believe they're fully capturing it. But I'd be interested to post your theory on what you think they're doing.
I think there's a clear canary in the coal mine for that, and that would be validators. Now, when they start spinning up validators and they got 3% of the validators, then 5%, then 15%, then 25% of the validators, that's when you worry. But when they're at 0%, capturing me, I think you have to capture the validators to really capture Ethereum, because that's how you're really going to get those EIPs pushed through. Ethereum improvement proposals. But now we're getting a little sidetracked here. I just want to say, I will. Don't you dare say I won't. I will.
We will. Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's talk about the Santa Rally, everybody. So what is the Santa Rally? Starting in 2 days. And let's track the Santa Rally over the past 5 years here. A little bit of a mixed bag. I keep hearing people say, oh, it's a clearly bullish signal. It's a clearly bearish signal. It's clearly in the middle is where it's at. And you can see green, red, red, green, green. The last three have been muted. This one 4.9 is still under 5% here, but we've had almost 10% dumps, 35% pumps in 2021 or 2020 rather. I don't know. Do you want to throw out a prediction, TJ? I'm gonna say plus 3.5. Plus 3.5%. Yes.
Or from what, today to when?
It's going to start in 2 days, and let's just
Just
be
basically
clear
Christmas
here.
Day.
Is the 24th? No, it's the 24th through the 2nd. So we're looking at about 10-day period here.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll see a pump right there. I mean, we've got a video. I think it's posted tonight, talking about the expiries on December 26th. There's some major futures expiries December 2026. So, I'm the optimist. I'm the perma bull. I see a lot of positive price action in the future. So, yeah, I do believe we see. Yeah, I'll take the over. How about that? You said 3% or 3.2. I'll take more than that.
All right. Now I don't want to say freak you guys out, but I'm going to freak you guys out. All right, this is a horrendous Q4, but crypto still holding to this big support. So what chart are we looking at here? This is the total chart. Total is all of the crypto assets and then measuring them as a complete market cap. And you can see we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests here. So we are still holding strong to support. But let me show you something here, folks. Look at the support. Look at the support. Look at the support. What if I told you, haha, plot twist, this is 2021, not 2025. It looks like this chart. This is 2025. This is 2021. So what happens next?
Yeah, we know what happened in 2022. It wasn't fun.
Oh, we lose support. So it is knocking on the door. And I just want to say, don't just assume because it knocked on the door, oh, it's going to skyrocket. Everybody felt like that right there. Oh, look at that. Look at those juicy green candles. Oh, well, I mean, we're going to do like one last retest, y'all. Oh, wait. Oh no. But the guy on YouTube told me it was going to bounce from there. So I just want to give you a little bit of a warning. Now, TJ, is it going to bounce? Yes or no?
Hey, somebody in the chat says TJ's bullish. In other news, water's wet. So yeah, that's 100%. I'm still bullish. I've been talking about the market structure bill this whole time and the money printing and all this stuff that I think is going to happen. I thought it was slated to happen in November. They've pushed it out into early next year. I still believe once we get some of that regulation passed, we will be bullish for altcoins. So yeah, I'm going to still take, basically bullish 2026, late Q1, definitely Q2. That is my when I expect to see bullish activity. So yeah.
TJ, where does the money come from?
The money which part?
To pump total and
they're coming from the printer. Like I said, it just started 6.8 billion this morning. They're going to be printing a ton from the Treasury. Is already starting to buy back its own debt. We've got the Fed pumping money in, so I think it's going to be new money. I really believe we're going to see a massive amount of new money created in 2026. They're already talking about huge tax returns and huge stimulus checks, and I don't know how much they had to print to send, the military a bunch of checks. So I think all of that is the beginning of a huge stimulus cycle. They've already announced it. The big beautiful bill. People sleep on that. That's $3.5 trillion of new money coming in.
All right, let's hedge this a little bit. So we talked to a warrior over the weekend, TJ. We talked to a warrior who got a warrior dividend. He's in the army. And what happened to his payment, TJ?
Well, he didn't get because they messed up his paperwork.
They lost it.
Yeah. They had the wrong bank account for him, apparently.
As far as I'm aware, 100% of the people have had their check lost in the mail.
Just anecdotally.
Now, but I only know one person. One out of one.
Yeah, one
out of one. But that's that. I mean,
to be fair, he's also brand new, so he hasn't received any paycheck yet, to be fair. So
yeah, he's in basic training.
Yeah.
So even the basic training, people were getting it. I mean,
they qualified. You're in.
You're qualified. I just want to share some stories from what he was relaying to us, but we can't say anything.
We're under NDA apparently, but we don't want to compromise his intelligence clearance. But kind of to sidebar real quick, I'm just curious. I see everybody in the chat. I know it's obviously a holiday week. We've got these numbers coming out about it's apparently a record 122 million Americans are expected to travel this holiday season. So who is home right now and who's traveling? I'm just curious. Is anybody, if you're at home doing your normal routine, say home. If you're traveling for the holidays, say travel. I'm just curious who's traveling. I'm staying home this year. DZ, obviously you're staying home as well. A lot of our people here are local, but and we probably will have a little bit of a light week, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. We might be doing some work from home days and stuff like that later in this week. But in 800 miles from home. I don't know what that means. Leaving in 2 days, home alone like the movie, traveling on a heroic. Oh man, stay safe out there, Mr. Illuminati. Don't be driving on the roads with heroic doses.
No, that is not what you want to do unless you're fully
Unless you're
self-driving.
flying. If you're flying, maybe but still, why would you want to be in an airplane full of people like that?
What's a home? Home is where the heart is, Heine.
That's right. That's
Home
right.
is where the heart is. Let's see here. Home Alone with Diddy. Oh, okay. So we got people watching from the NBC Municipality
SBF.
Detention Center in Brooklyn. I think he's still there.
I lost your mic again. I don't know if it's my headphones.
Hey, everybody. Hey, I see. I think I'm good. It might be your headphones there. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. So I asked TJ an important question. Where's the money coming from? Where is the money come from? I have a different answer. Well, yes, they are going to print money. So that is going to be a huge source of cash. We're looking up the stream at the top of the mountain. Money is flowing from the top of the mountain. It is creating this whitewater rapid of liquidity. You are going to see new money being created. So at the top of the mountain, there's a guy out there, and he's just cranking out dollar bills. He's cranking out the Benjamins. But also at the top of the mountain, some liquidity is going to come from gold traders. I do think gold, they're going to rotate some of this cash into Bitcoin. And now we're looking at some 3-year lows versus gold on the RSI. So Bitcoin dropped to 20 ounces of gold for the first time since early 24. This represents the border. This is the Rio Grande between the bulls and the bears. This is the border between the bull and bear market territory. The last time the markets hit their low, that was the moment, talking about Bitcoin. So last time Bitcoin hit a low, that was the moment Bitcoin Gold hit the low as well. Now, one of them is getting overvalued. One of them is getting undervalued. And his thesis, gold's undervalued and Bitcoin is undervalued. And there's the chart right there. Now we have the RSI dropping below 30 into oversold. This historically marks a long-term bottom. The best part, on the daily time frame, it starts to make a bullish divergence, signaling there's more upside on the horizon in the short term. TJ, in my charting, I've actually identified the reversal signal for Bitcoin Gold. And when I say it is literally foolproof, it is literally foolproof. This is past muster every single time. I don't know how I've seen this before. Now, let's just kind of set the stage. This is the current bear market. We're down about 50% against gold. This is 22. We're down about 75% against gold. What's interesting, 365 days exactly. We're at 366 days right now. And if you look right here, 362 days exactly. So that was the bear market right there. So it kind of does a very textbook cyclical pattern here. And so we went from about 40 ounces of gold down to 20 ounces of gold. But let me talk about, what is coming next. So they talk about the daily RSI. Switch to the daily here. You can see the daily RSI. So we haven't seen this since early 24. This is a reverse signal. They're super bullish on it. All right, well, let me show you something. Now, we go to the last time we touch. It's right here. That was the Pico bottom. But this is bad. That's bad data. Let me tell you why. Because it also was right there, and then it kind of was flat for a long time. You're just kind of stuck in a sour investment. Hit the bottom right there. Guess what? It kept dumping. You got a little pump, but then it dumped. So it was a terrible time to buy this. And honestly, probably not the best to buy this at the time, unless you took profit. So again, it went lower, it went lower, it went lower, and then finally we hit the bottom. And so to say, well, this is as low as it goes, I think is irresponsible. I don't want to be irresponsible. I want to give you good alpha. I want to give you the good information here. So let's look at the weekly RSI. And let me go ahead and hide some of this text here. It's kind of cumbersome. All right, so now we're talking about something a little bit different here. Here you can see, okay, basically was the bottom, and then we hit it again, was the bottom. Basically was the bottom. And let me go here. Basically, I mean, that was the bottom. That was the bottom. So now we're hitting bottoms. But what's the alpha, TJ? Because that's not it. That's not the signal I'm talking about. The foolproof Bitcoin signal for Bitcoin's price. Bull divs on the weekly, TJ. Every single bull div on the weekly has played out in a very, very good way. Very clear bull div. You can see it heading down. Look at that weekly bull div. Look at that weekly bull div. Look at that weekly bull div right here. So every single reversal is a weekly bull div. So what does it look like right now in 2025? We do not have the weekly bull div just yet. So to me, weekly bull div, pull the gold fillings out your teeth and go buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah. So and we're setting up for. I mean, obviously, how many weeks do you think it would need to play out? 2 to 4 more weeks.
That's
maybe?
a great question. Great question. That I mean, it's actually like months. I mean, that's
2 months.
Yeah, that's 3 because that's 140 days. So 3 and some change. We look right here. That one's only a month and a half. Okay, now we're starting to look a little bit better. And this one, you say it happened right there. 3 months. 3 months. So a month and a half to 3 months.
That's right.
If this happens, if this bull dip happens, so kind of what we're expecting here is it will look like either like this or maybe even be flat. As long as the price is heading lower, that right there is your generational entry.
No, it makes sense. I mean, we had somebody in the Discord asking today about entries on Bitcoin, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, looking at that, especially the longer time frames, the longer time frames you look at, generally speaking, the more reliable they become. And obviously, you're looking back over a long period of time, through several different cycles. I do think not enough people look at the Bitcoin gold. Arguably
the two hardest monies.
Right, exactly. It's gold is a lot more, I think, accurate representation of value than things priced in dollars or in fiat, because those are inflating and moving and constant. So, yeah, you've got a hard money like gold. It is a good indicator, and I do believe, we're set to see that against gold. Somebody else came in, one of our members, Byron. Monetary policy, business cycle trickles down to risk assets. It's that simple. You have policy changes, liquidity starting, then rotation risks assets. It takes time. That's basically my thesis for 2026. And that's what I see happening with that 5-year debt cycle instead of the 4-year debt cycle. We're rolling over the largest amount of debt ever. And as soon as that's done, then it's party time. They've solved the major problem. They're going to print the new money. And it lines up with this chart perfectly that we could see, say, somewhere between 2 and 3 months. That puts us towards the end of March into Q2, setting up for midterms and all those sorts of things. I think, that's pretty bullish in my opinion.
I would say pretty bullish. Let's talk precious metals. Give us a few minutes to talk precious metals here. I know a lot of you, primarily do have crypto investments, but a lot of you have precious metals.
Well, tell us, if you hold gold, silver, anything other than Bitcoin, let us know. I'd just be curious. Obviously, a lot of us here at the office have some silver. DZ's been crushing it with some of his gold options, and he's got more to.
It's hard to tell, but there's minerals behind it, not rocks. They're not rocks, Marie. They're minerals.
Yeah, they're not. You mean they're not crystals? You're not channeling.
No crystals. I do like crypto, but I'm not into the only wear hemp and carry crystals.
Maybe we should. He's doing pretty well.
Maybe we should. That guy's ripped. I need to start taking my diet a little bit more seriously here. We do have some silver, gold, physical. All right, we have silver here. We have precious Pokemon cards. So a nice. Foil Charizard kind of counts as a precious metal, I guess. It's foil.
I know DeFi Crypto airdrops, Crypto Vet. I know he's another precious metal guys. I mean, I think a lot of people, that's part of how I got into Bitcoin, was my brother was a gold. There he is. Gold and silver, the gateway drug into crypto. That's very true. A lot of people, that's part of how I found Bitcoin initially, is you start as a gold bug. You start as like, hey, I want to have my own sovereignty. I don't necessarily trust monetary policy. I want to have something that's a hard asset. And then you hear about Bitcoin and you do some research and you realize it's legitimate technology. I did, and somebody mentioned earlier that we need to research the cotillion effect, which obviously we know a lot about. I don't know if they meant us or the people in the chat, but if you guys aren't familiar with the cotillion effect, that is more or less the concept. The closer you are to the money printer, the more you profit from it. And I 100% believe in that. A lot of us in Bitcoin do. And that's why Bitcoin, solves for that. And precious metals, definitely something you should be paying attention to, especially lately. Obviously, they're all, gold and silver have been on a heck of a run. Not saying to YOLO into the top necessarily, but DZ's got some alpha for you on that.
I do got some alpha for you, folks. We're going to start with gold, and we're going to look at money flow. Big shout out to CryptoFace and Market Cipher. So if you look at the weekly money flow, you see this is gold we're looking at. We're 24 years ago. This is 01. Weekly money flow. We're talking about long-term, directional changes here. Weekly money flow. Gold was trading at $250 money flow turns green, ends up having a nice little surge, peaks around 2K. Then the money flow goes red. Look at the money flow. You can see the money flow turning red, and then it's a gold bear market. What do we have right here? We have the money flow turning green right around May 19. You can see gold went from 1,100 to where it's at now, over 4,400. It is an all-time high today as we speak. It is putting an all-time high 1 hour ago. So that's actually only technically 3 minutes ago that candle closed. So it's literally at an all-time high as of 3 minutes ago on the hourly chart. Let's get back to the money flow. So the money flow turned green, gold turned green. That's gold. Let's look at silver. All right, silver, now we're back in like 2010. Money flow turns red. It's dumping. We don't get a solid. All right, now we got the money flow turning green and it turns red. And then we get the money flow turning green again. But now it's like a little bit juicier. You can see it right there. Money flow turns green, silver goes nuts. I'm now going to talk about a third, less popular metal, the least popular out of these three for sure, Palladium. Do I have any pals in the chat? Any Palladium pals? Let me know. But look at the weekly money flow. And so this is the current silver money flow, been green. Current gold money flow, been green. Palladium is lagging. Palladium is lagging. Now, I don't want to do a whole, it's catalytic converters. There are going to be more EV cars, but right now there's more and more hybrids. TJ, what's your least favorite part about a hybrid car at a red light?
Least favorite car, but that it cuts the engine turns off.
It cuts off. Cuts off. I'm in the parking lot at Publix. Oh, I got to stop. There's an old lady with her engine cuts off. Up now, back cuts off. Up now, it's back. Now it's off.
I've apparently mechanics say that's actually not. It's causes a lot more wear and tear on other parts on the vehicle and requires more maintenance. It's not necessarily good.
And they've had to up how they build catalytic converters. So even though there's less pure gasoline powered cars, because those cars off on, Palladium. Snip, snap. That just hurts down there. Now we have a reason why Palladium is up. So even if there are a lot of EVs, there's a lot of hybrids out there. So I am bullish on Palladium. I threw this out in the Discord. I have bought some Palladium options. I'm just testing the waters. It is PAL. This is BlackRock's. I have a now the way options work is you have a strike price. I was looking at March 20, $220 target. I think it's very doable. I got these options for like $2 or something like that. Here, I have it right here. Now, just a little bit of this, you need to do a limit order. These are very illiquid. But right now, I mean, we got in, it was supposed to be like 2. I think it went above that. And now you look, it's up 245. So it's up 20% from 26% from Friday to Monday. This is a traditional market. There's going to be no trading on Saturday or Sunday. So we're up 27% in one day. I gave you guys this. I even tweeted about it. I even gave the strike price. I taught you guys how to buy it there. So this is what I've been looking at. I just want to share my precious metals investing tip. And I am starting to eye circle options around the $150 to $175 range, somewhere around probably Q2, maybe as late as June, the April, May, June area. Or $177 circle, which would be right near the support area right there. So I've been trading a little options. I saw someone in the chat saying, oh my God, these guys trading options. Options is how Nancy Pelosi's husband trades. And so if you want to say, yeah, Paul Pelosi, what an idiot when it comes to investing, you don't know what you're talking about. That guy is probably among the best traders with his inside information, but he uses options, and there's a reason, folks.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of money a lot of people, you can make good money with options. I mean, they're the original prediction markets, so to speak. I mean, if you think about what predictions really are, if you're betting on the price of Bitcoin and, oh, I think Bitcoin's going to be at this at the end of Q1. I mean, that's basically you're buying an option on Bitcoin. So, yeah, I think we're playing with it. We're learning about it. Obviously, we know crypto markets very well. I did see somebody say platinum's over 2000. He was talking about Palladium, or how do you say it?
Palladium.
You probably say it right. I've learned you're better at pronouncing things than I am. I say Palladium, but platinum is a totally different metal. So he was not talking about platinum, Palladium or Palladium.
Let's look at platinum. I am interested in the money flow. Yeah, that money flow has been green. Oh, wait, no, let's go to the weekly here.
Still been
all right.
green.
So kind of after gold and silver, but did turn green before Palladium. So man, look at that chart right there. Yeah, options on this are probably 40x'd. You know, depending on your strike date and everything else.
And it's a way to get a huge upside like that. I mean, it's something you put a few $100s in and you're walking away with, 15 grand or something like that if you're picking the right one. So it's a way to give yourself a small bet with a huge payoff if you're right and if you've got good information. I think it's a very reasonable bet. If you win, you get 17 grand. If you lose, you get you're out $200. Like,
but it's kind of like poly market. You get in and get out early. So I've divested 80% of our silver options, and man, I thought I was like smart taking 2x's. Now it's like 5x, 8x. I'm like, gosh, man, I'm holding on to a little bit there. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's get back into the Bitcoin and crypto charts here. Bitcoin charts repeating a pattern that does look very bullish. If I'm just going to be very frank with you here, here's the downtrend that we started at the start of the year.
Whoa. Byron gifted 20 DC memberships. Feeling the Christmas spirit. Shout out to him. We've got all kinds of people. Tweaking Orange wins one. Dave Flowers, Psycho Jason, Dwarf. Let's see. They're rolling in so fast. DT Attacker, Dennis Palladia. Wow. All kinds of people. What a guy. W's in the chat for Byron, one of our members here at DC. Seems like a nice guy. Shout out to you and your family. Appreciate that. What a G. That's really cool.
Man. I definitely appreciate that. Spreading the Christmas cheer. We do appreciate it. W's in the chat. Let's get some W's in the chat here.
And speaking of members, we did on our Charles interview, we did have to trim some of that down to match the time. We're going to be posting the completely uncut, just raw interview for the members only. It's probably an extra 20, probably extra 30 or so minutes, because I think we went an hour 20-ish. Now there was a little talk before and after. But
wait, a talk with Charles Hoskinson went a little long?
Yeah, it was great. I really loved it. But some of the stuff, I don't know exactly what got trimmed out, but some of it was a little technical. So I think that's probably what got trimmed. So if you guys want more technical stuff on privacy and how midnight works,
talks about pet. Privacy enhancing technologies, and there's 4 of them, and it gets a little dense.
It is a little dense. I mean, to the point that I was like, I haven't heard of some of this stuff. So it's good stuff. So if you are a member, if you just got that, we're gonna be dropping that later this week. So enjoy it, and shout out again. Thanks, Byron. You're the man.
All right, Tweaking Orange. He wasn't even. Hey, he's just appreciative. All right, let's talk about the charts here. This is Bitcoin replicating what we saw Q1 of 2025. You see, we just have a downtrend, a downtrend, a downtrend. And you can see the downtrend on the RSI, but then we turn this downtrend on the RSI into support. And if you look here, this happens right at the touching the line, right here, touching the line. It looks very similar there. It's about the 50 point. Here's about the 50 point. It's just a little hopium for the Bitcoin bulls out there. Now, the 3-day bullish divergence. Also, we talked about gold's weekly divergence. Bitcoin's daily 3-day divergence. Also very, very good. There you can see very strong 3-day divergence printed yesterday. Or wait a minute, this is 1 day, 8 hours. So we're a day and a half ago, 1 day, 16 hours ago. We have now printed a 3-day bull div. If you're wondering what that looks like in the past, that was the bottom. That was the bottom. That was the bottom. Are you seeing a trend here? That was the bottom. That was the bottom.
Telling me we're near a bottom.
I'm saying we're near a bottom here, and you don't see any 3-day bull divs on the downtrend. This is 2021. This is where we basically crashed. We only get the 3-day bull divs when we reverse. So this isn't like some sort of, but half the time it goes lower if you look at the start of a bear market. No, this is a bottom indicator every single time, folks.
So 2026 is going to be bullish. Is that what you're telling me?
We have at least, hold on. We got at least a 38% pump in us, folks.
That's pretty good.
I'll take it.
Put us back to all-time or near all-time highs.
Let's look. 38%. We'll do it from the bottom. 112, where the players dwell.
Yeah. I like it.
We'll take that, folks. That's bullish enough for me.
That is. And then the bears out there will say, oh, that's a fake out. We're gonna pump to 112 and then dump all the way to 50K. I just don't see that happening with all this new money coming in next year. But we're going to have to wait and see. Again, I've been on this. I know I'm out on an island a little bit saying 2026, this time will be different. I'm basing it on what I said earlier in the stream. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's traditional 4-year cycle. We're going to be down, down only basically until the end of next year, call it October-ish again. So I think April we will be at or near all-time highs, and altcoins will have their day in the sun. Not all of them, but at least the major ones, Solana's, the Chainlinks, a lot of these ones that are beat down pretty bad right now, will have another rally.
All right, we got someone saying some Latin. That's friends with benefits in Latin.
Palladium.
No, it's Palladium. Palladium is what he's saying there. Palladium. All right, so you're right. Global money. Let's talk about the global money. We briefly said, the Fed, they're about to inject $7 billion. That's today. Global money is out of control. It's now up to a record $45 trillion. That comes as China's M1 has also risen to an all-time high, $16 trillion. They've driven the majority of global money supply growth this year. They're currently the largest producer of narrow money in the world. Meanwhile, U.S. is also up. It's 18% of the world's total. TJ, what is the narrative we always hear, though, about China and their central bank balance sheet?
Oh, they're dumping. They're dumping
the treasuries and they're buying gold.
Yeah, this is good.
The biggest lie exposed here. Wall Street wants you to panic about China dumping treasuries. But here's what the data actually shows. China's treasury holdings, $687 billion, low since 2008. Talking about U.S. Treasury specifically, de-dollarization is here. What they're hiding, Belgium has a whole bunch of treasuries as well. So China goes down, Belgium goes up. Why does this matter? Well, Belgium's GDP is $580 billion. They're not buying more than half their economy in treasuries. So who is the Belgian buyers of U.S. debt? Well, this is where China actually holds its dollars through Euroclear custodial accounts in Brussels. One of the main central bank areas that was established by the R family in the 1800s. Net the two positions, China's true dollar exposure essentially unchanged. So they dump their internal balance sheet, but the Brussels account essentially goes up, commiserate or equal amounts. It's essentially unchanged. So while the media is screaming dollar collapse, we're not seeing that. We're at the second highest level in human history for dollars. So every time China dumps treasuries, Belgium mysteriously accumulates the exact amount. And this has happened for 7 consecutive quarters. It's not de-dollarization. It's an accounting shuffle designed to manufacture a narrative, TJ.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw that over the weekend as well, and I think it's very good insight. Often you hear these headlines, they're designed to create fear. And you want to look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. And we've learned that with JPMorgan. We've learned that with almost any bank getting involved with crypto. They were all taking major internal and external steps towards regulating and offering these products to their clients while being out there saying, oh, we don't know. There's no demand. While internally they're fielding calls like, we want exposure. Like, all right, we're going to set up the products. And then they'd go out on mainstream news and say, there's no demand. We don't really see much in this. And so, yeah, I think it's good. I do think a lot of this political posturing is just that, whether it's tariffs, whether it's dumping treasuries. At the end of the day, we are in an interconnected, interdependent system. That fiat system is not stable there's no strength within the fiat system. I don't care where your allegiances lie. Fiat is basically just stacked up, leveraged to the nines, and there's really very little substance underneath all of it. So they can only do so much when it comes to like dumping each other's treasuries. And this is why we're saying, this has been, it's actually a little piece of eczema, by the way. I've had this on for like months. I can't get it to go away. So thank you for noticing, Mr. Techno Goody. I appreciate that. But
hey, you get your dot under your eye in the chat. I get, hey, the thumbnail looks like you're on meth. That's what I get.
Yeah, people
wrong
said
guy.
This, yeah, wrong guy. Yeah, wrong host. No, people said the same thing about the Charles thumbnail. I guess we'll update that. But hey, guys, we got to get people in. We're just doing what the proper YouTube etiquette is. So. No, I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Techno Goody. But
yeah, they're worried for your safety. They thought maybe you stopped a bus attacker or something. They didn't know what was happening there. I probably should
just need to sleep more. To be honest, I do, and detox a little bit more. I did get a sauna, so that's my new thing. That hopefully that helps. So we'll see.
All right. Well, speaking of sleepwalking, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi here. 23% chance Congress is banned from trading stocks next year. This to me seems like clear 20 some odd percent gain here. They're not going to do this. Well, I don't know what people are thinking. I mean, TJ, you think there's a snowball's chance in hell that they prevent themselves from trading stocks?
No, not with. I mean, the snowball's chance would be once they come up with a better alternative. So no, I don't. They're not going to stop themselves from. I get from exposure to making money. If you don't own assets, there's really no way to make money in this economy. So maybe they find a workaround.
Damn it, Greg. I haven't followed Greg in a while. This is actually a good take. I'm sure as soon as the greatest stock trader in the world, Nancy Pelosi, retires, she'll be all for it.
Yeah, she probably will. This sounds like an Elizabeth Warren kind of thing. So
Nancy Pelosi outperformed Warren Buffett, says it all. Ban them.
So yeah, I mean, they're showing before January 2029. So like maybe they come up with some kind of workaround by then. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, you can only trade options, like something like that, but at the end of the day, no, this is all political posturing. This is all headlines. This is something people can say, oh, I'm going to run on this and hype people up. But no, it ain't happening.
Yeah, this is the face of someone not allowing it to happen there. It's look, she's just so happy. She's just so happy that she gets to trade and you can't. All right, speaking of political news here, Lummis is stepping down. Senator Cynthia Lummis, 71, has announced she will not be running for re-election after her term ends. It's going to be January 3rd, 2027. So she's not going to be running for the midterms in 2026. And the crypto community, very, very sorry. They've rallied in support of her after she announced this over the weekend. She was a vocal critic of Gary Gensler's regulation by enforcement approach during the Biden administration and was a major advocate for a lot of the pro-crypto acts and legislation that we've seen coming out of there. As she said, job's not done after the announcements, what the VCs are saying here. So participants say the policy efforts are far from over. She did highlight, though, she's going all in on the crypto legislation on her way out. So she kind of has a, let's just say, exiting strategy or an exiting goal. And that is her goal, to get our Clarity Act passed, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like her legacy that she can leave. And I think it's she's done an incredible job. The industry is very much appreciative of all the work that she's done. As far as for any senator, I think she has the best understanding of Bitcoin in general. She is one of the loudest ones about the need for the United States to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve, has done wonderful things for her state. So yeah, very appreciative of her. I think it's an incredible legacy to leave. She's done an incredible job. I can't fault anybody for wanting to retire. She's worked she's put in a lot of work and a lot of time, and very impressed, very sharp to be that ahead of the curve at that stage of your career. So shout out to Cynthia, shout out to her and all the work that she's done. And it's an incredible legacy to leave behind. Even if she's still got a couple years left, obviously, or at least a year plus to go out in 2027. But even if she went out today, she's still got a strong legacy. So,
oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, it would be sad to see her go, but it was good that she was here and really put Wyoming on the map. More so than that cowboy movie, I would say. So now that's what Wyoming's known for. All right, let's talk about what's going on with Knight. I see people in the chat, Steve-O, talking about, Binance has all the coins and all types of FUD, and it's all fake volume. All right, so they're saying a Cardano native asset has more trading volume than XRP and Solana combined.
Heyo.
Let's see. Is this true? I haven't checked this recently. Let's hit refresh. We'll make sure we get the fresh data here. So we're going to look at volume. We're going by ranking here. Midnight is number 5, 7 billion, and it is more than Solana and XRP combined today as well. They're coming in basically 5.5. Midnight coming in at 7.3. So Midnight is doing more volume than Solana and XRP combined. I would say that's fairly bullish. I keep seeing posts about, Steve-O, I'm calling you out here. Oh, look who holds all the Night. They're showing the screenshot as if showing that this 134 million Night is, I've seen people like, not Steve-O, I'm not saying you, but Binance has 94% of the tokens. What do you notice that's wrong with that? Well, if you look right here, that's on this chain.
Yeah. So you're saying Binance Smart Chain. Yeah.
Yeah. On Binance Smart Chain. But that's just that particular instance. I mean, there's definitely signs. Wait a minute. Every wallet's 0x. Might have been an indication that we're, maybe not looking at the right thing here. They have 56%. No, they don't. No, they don't. So that is just a little misreporting out there. I did want to share that misreporting. Stake pool out here. CoinGecko, Tap Tools, stop using team APIs blindly and do some reading. And they even talk about circulating supply. So even those numbers aren't real. Even those numbers are inaccurate. So they're inaccurate at like multiple levels here. But what do we have? We do have some partnerships fueling the optimism. So Cardano investors looking forward to a possible partnership with a major stablecoin firm. Conversations already in advanced stages, with the deal expected to be finalized in the coming weeks. Many believe this move could further boost the price outlook for Midnight. And we talked to Charles about this quite heavily, folks. So please go watch that interview.
Mm-hmm. He did a great job. I mean, one of the things I appreciate Charles is he doesn't shy away from any questions. We ask always before we start an interview, like, hey, is there anything that's off limits? He's like, no, just hit me with whatever you got. So he answered very honestly, very truthfully. He didn't have too many positive things to say about the current administration and their take on or what their impact has been on crypto so far. He said he thought Trump and their team, his administration, was here to build, and then it became very clear to anybody serious in the industry very quickly that they were here to extract value, not build value. And I thought that was pretty honest, and gave an honest take about things he's proud of with Cardano and Midnight, things he's learned along the way, and just some legendary stories. I mean, he's just say what you want about the chain, like him or hate him, there's opinions. I think not only has he done incredible work, he's got a lot of wisdom, but he's just lived an awesome life. I mean, I just love when he talks about the stuff that he goes and does, and he pushes himself mentally and physically. So a lot to learn from somebody like that, and in crypto and just in life. So if you guys haven't checked it out, a lot of the comments said they think it's the best interview he's ever done. So
oh yeah, I would agree. And the intro, our editor knocked that intro out of the park. All right, let me stop the FUD here. The top wallet's owned by Binance. Well, now I'm not saying it's 50%, but I am saying they're the top wallet. No, it's not even close. All right, so let's look. Let's use facts. Let's not speculate here. All right, you can see their wallet, 134 million. That tracks here. You can't see it quite here, but yeah, the 30% to the 56%. Now we're looking on Binance Smart Chain. And as Steve-O says, a lot of the volume is on Binance Smart Chain. Okay, sure. So they do have 130 million tokens. 130 million. 130 million. That doesn't even put it on this shot right here, on this screenshot right here. This is all the way down here. The bottom is 500 million. So it's sure top wallet on Binance Smart Chain. That's pennies compared to the other, when you combine all the other chains. It is not. Do you see 100 million down here? No, you see 300 million there. So pretty far disparity there. So it isn't the top wallet. It's not even a top wallet, but it is the top wallet on Binance Smart Chain, and I will give you that. You got that. You got that fact data, or you got that data point correct, but that's the only one, Steve-O. All right, let's get into the next story. Tron and announced the integration of Base, Neath L2. And so Tron, I mean, does anyone want to actually trade Tron, TJ, or they just want to trade Tether on Tron?
Yeah, Tron, I mean, it depends on where you're from, I guess. In the US, Tron doesn't get used a lot, and it is generally kind of, in my experience with people, it is, Tether on Tron, or it's used as, I mean, it's fast and it's cheap, and it's used a lot in other parts of the world, but I don't know a lot of people holding it as an investment. However, I haven't looked at it recently, but it's been in 2025. It was one of the better assets to hold. It was up near an all-time. Yeah, it's still pretty close to all-time highs. I mean, what did it peak at? 42 cents, 34 cents, in at 28. But I mean, let's see, 2024.
It has one of the best Bitcoin charts out there, like price in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, look at most altcoins. Don't look like that. Not right now. So you can say what you want about Tron. It's been around a long time. It's a copy and paste of Ethereum. I mean, that was what it was very famous for. It was literally copy and paste to translate. But it works.
They do say it's, a little, just be careful trading it. I would say that wick right there kind of,
Well, it's definitely centralized. I mean, it's definitely, I don't think it's hiding that it's not anywhere close to decentralized. So I don't see it gaining a lot of traction in U.S. Markets, because they actually, a lot of these Clarity Acts and stablecoin bills, a lot of this regulation they're pushing through surprisingly does emphasize decentralization. So, but hey, I mean, like, you got to give it its flowers. It's done well. Maybe because it's so centralized, it's why it's done well. It's Justin Sun's. If you believe in Justin Sun, who's had a lot of success, this is his chain.
And he's not like Sam Bankman-Fried where he has to like dump his tokens to buy Bohemian mansions or bribe politicians. He has enough ETH and Bitcoin.
Yeah, he buys. We'll leave that one alone.
All right, now let's talk about Alex Becker. Did you know Alex Becker only has 3% of his portfolio in altcoins?
I would not have guessed that from watching his videos.
I would have guessed 99%, TJ.
Yeah, I would have thought a lot more. Now, here's my caveat for him. The out that I'm going to give him is maybe it was 50% earlier this year. They're all down so bad it's dwindled to 3%. But I mean, obviously, I know he's
type in what percentage. So if I would have been asked, all right, so I know he probably has a lot of Bitcoin and he does talk about cash on the sidelines. If you would have said, all right, how much does he have in altcoins? I would have guessed like 40% probably. I probably would have said 40%, maybe 35, maybe 45%. But I would assume, because like you said, it would have been higher if you asked a year ago, but now that alts are down, I would have said they're at least a third of his portfolio. What number would you have given for Alex Becker's altcoin percentage?
Yeah, it would have been, in that 40. I would have thought 40% plus, maybe 50%, but just because that's what he talks about so much. Now, I'm not surprised. I mean, I know he has many forms of income and he's got a lot of money. So I'm not he's talking about liquid too. So liquid's net worth. I guess he holds a decent amount of Bitcoin. I'd be curious. I mean, maybe he has just basic index fund stocks. I know he's married. Maybe his wife has some stuff too. So I don't know. I would have but under 10% would not have been even in my consideration. The lowest I probably would have guessed was like 15%, just because he talks so much about altcoins. I mean,
what do you think of this statement? He doesn't have millions of dollars.
I doubt that. I think he does. I mean, he's got another software company. He moved to Dubai for tax reasons. You don't do that unless unless you've got some taxes.
Yeah, you don't do that if you only have 300K in Bitcoin or something.
No, if you've got $900,000 total, you're not moving to another nation to protect that with taxes. I'm just saying. So, it is what it is. But even on this channel is what I was going to say. We've always told you try to keep 50% at least in Bitcoin, and we don't watch a lot of his videos. Maybe he is saying that stuff as well. I don't know. I just know most of what he's known for is, gaming coins and lower cap altcoins, that sort of stuff. And so, maybe, and he does, to his credit, say he's gambling with them, but I would have assumed he was gambling with a larger percentage. That's my assumption. So, all
right, now chat's saying you got to check out the comments below the post. I didn't actually look.
Oh, sorry.
This is. All right, what an effing piece of S.
These are going to get violent quick.
Nothing says real generated wealth like hyping volatile altcoins while quietly stashing 90% in stocks. Ha ha ha, 3% now. I'm 100% allocated because he listened to him. Let's see here. You should make that more apparent to the unbalanced alt season only content. The biggest S coiner has 3% skin in the game. Own up to your L. All right. Oh, well, yeah, I guess people, that's because alts are down 97%. That one's good. Yeah, he's full of it. Now all of a sudden he has a bunch of stocks. So this person's saying he's lying. I am more inclined to believe, it's maybe only 3% now.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said he sold his, I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody said he sold his company for $100 million. Like, if you do that, you're probably if you have a big event like that, $100 million, what is he responding to? What does Cowan say?
That's Cowan's investing should be boring. Thinking you can only get rich with penny stocks or altcoins, absurd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so if you sold something for $100 million, probably 85, 90 is going to kind of secure your wealth for the long term. And then, okay, I'm going to take $10 million and play around with some stuff. Okay. If of that 10 million, I'm going to put some in Bitcoin and some in altcoin. So I think this speaks, he probably, to be fair to him, I'll just give him some credit. He probably still has more altcoins than a lot of the people that are watching his channel. He just happens to have a lot of other assets.
Yeah, there you go. Fair assessment there. Now, this is maybe, one of the reasons he's deep in stocks. TGEs, the altcoins that launched with the token generating event, they've mostly been a bloodbath. Tracked 118 this year and compared fully diluted value versus the opening. 84% are below launch price TGE valuation. That means 4 out of 5 are below their opening valuation. Only 15 are green versus the launch of the token. TGE isn't early anymore. So a lot of people do say, why don't you cover this launch? Why don't you cover that launch? You need to talk about this. We need to chase this thing. This is why I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I've done all the data, but I noticed, I don't know how long ago it was, after ARB and OP and maybe before kind of where we're at today, sometime in between, I did notice like, oh, that one was an L, that one was an L, that one was an L. And at a certain point, you just kind of notice a trend. And I don't want to hype something up just when 85% of them are going to fail.
Yeah, a lot of times TGEs are exit liquidity for early VC investors. So if you're not getting, and these days, so back in 2021 especially, private sales and things like that did pay pretty well. But even lately, this last cycle, private sales I feel like have even been somewhat of a trap. People are like, oh, I can get you in this private sale, and they're just, if a regular person's getting access to a private sale, if you're not some type of VC or something like that, they're saying, oh, you can get in private. Even that is already way overpriced, and you're being the exit liquidity for the guys that got in on seed round. So, and I do think all this is going to change. Seed investing is getting a lot more mature. Things like Echo, and then obviously Coinbase has their launch. I'd be curious, how's Monad doing today compared to when it launched? It did okay when it very first launched, and
that was supposed to be like the best one, kind of.
Yeah, and it's even that's still down. So not horribly, but generally speaking, I do think we're going to see a much more. And then go to traditional markets, IPOs. It's no different. IPOs pretty much open up and then go down for a while, find a bottom, and then start building. Even with really good companies, Coinbase, and almost anything. Find an IPO that's up only. They're pretty rare. So most of the time, when you get a major launch like that, especially if it's overhyped, it's to get liquidity for early investors to exit and then kind of spread the shares around to more people. And then if it's a strong company, it recovers. If it has revenue, it recovers. So. But yeah, generally speaking, buying into those events, not necessarily the best opportunity.
Yep, there you go. All right, now let's talk about Fundstrat, Tom Lee. I did see some of you in the comments. I thought he was bullish. Why is he privately saying he's bearish? It's his company, not him technically. So Fundstrat, how scammy is this? Tom Lee's fund, Fundstrat, stated in the last 2026 strategy advice to their internal clients that a significant correction is expected in the first half of the year, completely contradicting Tom Lee's statement that ETH at 3K is severely undervalued. He previously said it's going to 15K by the end of 2025. So how scammy. He goes on stage and in interviews everywhere, all over the television, all over the podcast here. He's saying Bitcoin's going to 200K, ETH's going to 12K. Internally, they say 60K and 1.8K for the first half of the year. But a little distinction here. It's not actually Tom Lee. We're talking about Sean Farrell. And it says it right there, Sean Farrell. So this is an employee. So this is contradicting comms from the company, but to be fair, not contradicting comms from Tom. So not a contradicting comm from Tom. Now, debate over whether the analysts are sending mixed signals has intensified. For sure, they are sending mixed signals. This did get a response from the co-founder here. Heisenberg was one that found this, shared screenshots that show the contrasting outlooks from the leadership. One, Sean Farrell says, yes, 60K. And then Tom Lee saying, new all-time highs, eventually Q1, as soon as Q1. I got the post right here. It goes into a whole lot of stuff here. What are your thoughts? So it is two different people. Tom Lee, bullish. Sean Farrell, bearish. They do have different positions. Tom Lee, public macro voice. Sean Farrell, he actually owns the crypto model portfolio and the actual positioning here. I read this, TJ, and I'm like, we should just be listening to Sean Farrell the whole time. He's the one actually keys to the kingdom.
Yeah. I was joking this morning. It kind of reminds me of us here, where we don't all agree. We have different opinions sometimes. Sometimes I feel very bullish. Other people feel bearish. Sometimes people have different time frames. And I think the main one I saw was quoting Tom's price. He was very bullish even in the short term. So Tom Lee, obviously, if you guys haven't been following for a long time, he's kind of like me, notoriously bullish. He's going to lean on the bullish side. He's close to the macro. He's probably looking at a lot of the same things I am when it comes to money printing and big, beautiful bill and kind of the regulatory macro shift that's going on. And then, so you've got somebody who's a little bit removed and somebody who's right up in it. And I think they both end up having their bias. Somebody who's deep into the charts if you're a pure, technical person, you see downside, right? You're looking at the technicals like, technically it's bearish. Technically we could be going back to 69K, 70K. What did he say? 60?
Yeah, 60K.
Not shocking. If you're looking at pure charts, that's what it says. Now, if you've had a lot of experience with Bitcoin, sometimes Bitcoin respects those charts. A lot of times it'll break those charts. And so it doesn't shock me at all. It's kind of like when we have Crypto Crank on here talking about certain levels, or Kelly or Drew or anybody else who's trading on the technicals, you can make a technical case for a downside. And in my opinion, we could, and again, I'm waiting for that market structure bill and some of that liquidity. So we could still go down technically, end of December into January, find our footing, and then go up and have a bullish 2026. Tom Lee, though, I'm pretty sure he said new all-time high January 2026. That's even more bullish than I am. That's very, very bullish. So not shocking. I guess he's doing his job. His job is to get attention on the fund and to tell people why they should be investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the other guy's job is to optimize the strategy and make sure it's profitable. So I'm not shocked, but it's also probably not the best look. They should probably at least be a little bit closer together with their comms. I'm sure they're talking about it and may or may not make a statement. But
guys, we're embarrassing ourselves. We got to stop this. I did want to check in on Bitcoin. Are we still seeing 10 a.m. manipulation? My prediction that we're going to sweep this high, I would say, is starting to look a little bit better. We are starting to see some bull divs on the 3 minute. So, again, we're just talking about short-term moves. So keep an eye out on a little bit of a pump just to wreck you as people start turning a little bit bearish. Now, let's talk about ETH. I noticed ETH price analysis. Is it out of the woods? I didn't realize I could have read the chart or read the article and it would have told me. I was like, trying to find these moving averages. It's the 100 and the 200. So we got a couple things. One, we do have this megaphone pattern. This is bullish, suggesting we do kind of want to go to the top of this megaphone. Let's talk about the 100 and the 200. The 100 more closely aligns with the present action. The 200 is this more broad, more of a slope one here. So the 100 just did a death cross by crossing below the 200. Typically, it's the 50 and the 200. I am aware. I was curious, though, what does this tell us? Because I haven't backtested it yet. I want to do it with you guys. I noticed when you look at the bull cross here, actually, it was a little bit of a head of a move there, but it kept going higher. So let's see here. Not great, chat. Not great. If we were just kind of measure, that said, we went down another 42%. Here we have a bullish one. Here, all right, now we're kind of close to a bottom. I'll say it's right here. That one was close to a bottom, only 15% to go. And if we look, that one basically was a bottom as well. Then it flips bullish. A little bit of a mixed bag. I wouldn't say this is some huge thing. If you see people screaming about it, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. I don't know if that's going to be enough for us to tell just yet. But I do love the megaphone pattern that we are seeing with ETH here.
Yeah, ETH has shown strength, especially up against Bitcoin recently. That being said, until we get new money coming in, until we get the money printer kicking on, I think we're going to see ranging for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, pull up that ETH Bitcoin chart because it has been looking strong. I'd say the last, month or two, maybe 6 or 8 weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, something like that. But been holding pretty strong. It's still holding above 3,000, which is great. It's up.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that, right up against that. So I think we're going to be in those ranges until we see, like I said, that market structure bill happen and some of these new regulation coming in. But more and more strength in Ethereum, as far as I can see. Every major institution, every major payments platform are all seeming to choose Ethereum. It's actually getting harder to find a justification for alts like Avalanche. Solana, I'm still holding on to. I think they've got a chance to be the number 2 option, but even Solana, it's getting tougher and tougher because it seems like all value is flowing to Ethereum. They've got infrastructure built. They've got liquidity there. They've got regulation there. They've got security that everybody can tap into in a growing dev ecosystem as well. Largely, and you've got Base funding a lot of this. So Base is putting a lot of money into building on their layer 2 that's built on Ethereum, and you're seeing them win time and time again. Incredible business development by Base. And that's to the benefit of Ethereum.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That was our show for today. Let us know down below what altcoins you want us to cover tomorrow. We're going to be looking at those comments as well. We got an afternoon stream coming in, and very, very big major 2026 thesis video going to be dropping later in the week. Or we're going to be dropping what do you remember what we were dropping today? I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
Yeah, it's a recap, short-term price action, talking about we've got some like billions of dollars of options expiry on December 26th.
Yes,
So
yes,
Kelly
26 expiry. Yes.
Yeah, Kelly's normal Sunday night video, kind of telling you what to expect in the kind of mid to near term. Keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a good one.
Rewind for the midnight news, but that's all we got. Hit the like button on the way out.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.